Let's start with a hard truth. Most men chase women who were never theirs to begin with. You see her beauty, her confidence, that calm, almost untouchable aura, and something inside you says, I want her. But here's the twist. The more you want her, the more she pulls away. That's not because she's cruel or shallow. It's because wanting her too much makes you invisible. Women don't fall for the men who try to impress them. They fall for the men who don't need to. Sounds unfair, right? But think about it. A woman can feel desperation from a mile away, the same way you can smell fear in a man's voice. The problem isn't that she's not interested. It's that you've positioned yourself as someone seeking approval, not connection. Here's what most men never realize. Attraction isn't built through effort. It's built through energy. It's not about being the most handsome guy, having the most money, or texting her 1,000 times. It's about creating a magnetic presence that makes her curious about you. And once curiosity enters the room, interest follows. In this video, I'll show you how to flip the script. Not by pretending to be someone you're not, but by understanding the psychological switches that trigger attraction naturally, because once you master that, you'll never chase again. She'll start chasing you. 1. Stop chasing, start choosing. Let's get this straight. The moment you start chasing a woman, you've already lost her respect. Most men think chasing shows persistence or confidence. But to a woman, it screams desperation. When you chase, you're sending a silent message that says, you're above me. I need your attention to feel valuable. And no woman is truly attracted to a man who puts her on a pedestal. Women aren't drawn to men who need them. They're drawn to men who have options, or at least men who act like they do. That doesn't mean you play games or act cold. It means you shift your mindset from, I hope she likes me, to, I'll see if she fits my life. You're not auditioning for her approval. She's auditioning for your time. Think of it like this. Chasing is energy going outward. Choosing is energy staying centered. When you chase, you leak energy, emotionally, mentally, even physically. But when you choose, you conserve power. You become grounded, focused, and harder to impress. That's exactly what triggers attraction, because women instinctively respect a man who respects himself enough not to beg for validation. Most men confuse attention with affection. They text too much, overanalyze her replies, and constantly try to prove they're good enough. But attraction doesn't grow through effort, it grows through presence and self-value. And here's the truth. When you stop chasing, two things happen. The wrong women fade away, and that's a good thing. The right women start noticing you differently. They feel your confidence, not your craving. 1, for example, imagine a man named David. He meets a woman, and instead of flooding her phone with messages, he keeps calm, focused on his goals, and only reaches out when he truly wants to. He's polite, but detached. Within a week, the same woman who once ignored him starts initiating conversations. Why? Because now she feels his energy shifting. He's no longer chasing her, he's choosing his peace. That's the secret most men miss. You attract by standing still, not by running after. A man who chases tells her, you're the prize. But a man who chooses tells her, I am. And the truth is, women always go for the prize. 2. The power of indifference. Here's the part most men never understand. The less you react, the more power you hold. Indifference isn't about pretending not to care. It's about actually being okay, whether she stays or walks away. That calm energy is magnetic, because women aren't used to men who don't crumble for their attention. Most men overreact to every move a woman makes. She takes a little longer to reply. Suddenly he's nervous. She cancels plans. He starts overthinking. She seems distant. He tries harder. Every one of those reactions tells her one thing: you're emotionally dependent. But when a man is indifferent, his world doesn't revolve around her. He's too focused on his mission, his peace, and his standards. That's when women lean in. They start wondering, why doesn't he chase like everyone else? What's different about him? That curiosity is the seed of attraction. Indifference shows that your emotions are not for sale. It says, you can't manipulate my energy with your silence or attention. That alone makes you more attractive than 90% of men. Because deep down, women test not to hurt you, but to measure your strength, emotional strength. They want to see if you're centered or easily shaken. One, for example, let's take a guy named Malik. He meets a woman, they text for a few days, and suddenly she becomes distant. Instead of panicking or chasing, he focuses on his daily routine: gym, business, his goals. He doesn't send follow up messages. He lets silence do the talking. Within days, she texts again, this time with interest. Why? Because his indifference showed confidence. She realized he wasn't emotionally desperate. He was in control. That's the real power of indifference. It turns emotional imbalance into attraction. You're no longer reacting to her moves, you're leading through calm energy. The man who is indifferent doesn't need to play games. His silence, his stillness, and his lack of neediness say everything. He's not ignoring her. He's prioritizing himself. And when a woman feels that, she starts thinking, what does this man have that others don't? That's when interest begins. Because indifference isn't coldness, it's confidence. 3, looks don't matter as much as vibe. Here's the uncomfortable truth: you don't need to be the best looking man in the room to get the woman everyone wants. Because attraction isn't a mirror game, it's an energy game. Most men think women choose based on facial structure, muscles, or style. But what really gets their attention is something deeper: your vibe. Think about it. You've probably seen average looking guys with stunning women, right? And you've wondered, what does he have that I don't? It's not luck, it's energy. It's how he carries himself, how calm he is under pressure, and how he makes people feel around him. That's what women respond to. A man's vibe is built on self assurance. It's the way he walks into a room without needing validation. It's the relaxed tone in his voice. It's how he looks at a woman without fear or fantasy, just presence. That's confidence in its purest form. Most men, however, destroy their own vibe by overcompensating. They think a new haircut, an expensive outfit, or flashy shoes will do the job. But those things can't fix insecurity. Women can sense when a man's confidence is surface level. You can't fake calmness, yeah, it's either real or it's not. The truth is, your vibe tells her everything before you even speak. If your energy screams tension, nervousness, or neediness, she feels it immediately. But if your presence says peace, control, and quiet confidence, she's drawn in. That's the difference between attraction and attention. One fades fast, the other lingers. The best part? You build that vibe through how you live, not how you look. When you start taking care of your mind, your health, and your purpose, your presence naturally sharpens. You stop trying to impress and start expressing who you really are. That's when your energy becomes magnetic. Men who rely only on looks often struggle long term because physical appeal fades fast. But men with a strong, grounded vibe, they stay attractive even as they age. Because true attraction isn't about the surface, it's about how a woman feels in your presence. So, no, you don't need to be a model. You just need to radiate calm confidence. You need to be the man who doesn't try too hard because he already knows who he is. That's the kind of energy no woman can resist. 4, the scarcity effect. Let's be brutally honest. Most men give themselves away too easily. You meet a woman, and before you even know her last name, you're already emotionally invested, checking your phone every minute, planning the future in your head. That's not attraction, that's scarcity. You've made her your only option before she's even proven herself worthy of that place in your life. And that's the biggest mistake men make today. You treat her attention like it's gold and your own time like it's dirt. Wake up. You're the prize. Your time, your focus, your energy, and those are valuable. But when you throw them at every woman who smiles your way, you teach the world that you're easily replaceable. Scarcity creates value. It's basic psychology. The less available something is, the more people want it. Women feel the same pull. When you're too available, too responsive, too eager, you remove the mystery, you take away the chase, you strip away what makes you interesting. Here's the hard truth. Women don't lose interest because they're cold-hearted. They lose interest because you stop being a challenge. You hand over all your cards before the game even starts. The most attractive men are the ones who don't rush to impress. They're selective. They know that not every woman deserves access to their energy. That's not arrogance, that's self-respect. You can be kind, you can be genuine, but you should never be desperate. Too many men walk around like they're in emotional debt, constantly seeking approval. But real men, grounded men, understand that scarcity builds attraction. When you're not always available, when you move with purpose, when you're focused on your mission instead of her messages, she feels it. That's when curiosity kicks in. It's time to wake up and realize that being too accessible kills your mystery. You're not meant to chase every opportunity that looks good. You're meant to create an energy that attracts the right ones. So stop trying to prove yourself. Stop begging for validation. Instead, build a life that makes people want to be part of your world. Because when a man values his presence, everyone else does too. And that's the real power of scarcity. You stop chasing attention, and attention starts chasing you. 5. Emotional control is everything. If there's one thing that separates men who attract women effortlessly from those who constantly struggle, it's this: emotional control. Most men have no idea how easily they give away their power. The moment a woman pulls back, ignores a text, or acts cold, they spiral. Their whole mood shifts, their confidence disappears, and suddenly they're doubting their worth. That's not strength. That's weakness disguised as emotion. You see, women test emotions, not looks. They don't just listen to what you say, they watch how you react. They want to feel your energy when things don't go your way. Why? Because emotional control equals stability, and stability equals safety. A woman feels safe, and therefore attracted, to a man whose emotions are not easily shaken. But too many men today are emotionally reactive. You let your feelings run the show. She doesn't text back. You panic. She cancels plans. You get angry. She talks to another guy. You act jealous. And every time you do, you show her that you can't handle pressure. You show her that your sense of peace depends on her validation. Here's the truth: if a woman can control your emotions, she controls you. That's the exact opposite of attraction. She might play with it for a while, but deep down, she loses respect. No woman wants to lead the man she's supposed to follow. The man who wins isn't the one who never feels. It's the one who feels but doesn't fold. When you can stay calm in chaos, when you can smile through rejection, when you can walk away with composure instead of collapse, you become rare. And women feel that rarity instantly. Because calm energy is magnetic. It tells her, this man doesn't need to chase, he chooses. Here's what men need to understand: control is not suppression, it's direction. You don't ignore emotions, you manage them. You don't fight feelings, you master your response. So the next time she tries to test your patience, breathe, don't react, don't explain. Don't chase clarity from confusion. Just stay grounded. That silence, that composure, that quiet strength, that's what speaks louder than 1,000 words. Because at the end of the day, attraction fades where emotional chaos begins. A man who controls himself controls everything. 6. Silence speaks louder than words. Here's something most men completely misunderstand: you don't always need to talk to make an impact. In fact, sometimes your silence says more than your words ever could. Too many men try to fill every moment with conversation, compliments, or constant reassurance. They think the more they talk, the more she'll feel connected. But in reality, over-talking often kills attraction. It gives away too much too soon. It removes the mystery. Silence, when used with confidence, is power. It's not about ignoring her, it's about being comfortable enough in yourself that you don't need to constantly seek validation through words. When you can stay quiet, make eye contact, and hold your energy steady, she starts to feel it. That's presence. And presence creates tension. The kind of tension women can't resist. Most men are afraid of silence because silence reveals insecurity. You start to wonder, does she think I'm boring? Or should I say something to keep her interested? That's when you lose the frame. You move from leading to following. And once that happens, the attraction starts slipping away. Here's the truth: a confident man is never uncomfortable with silence. He lets his energy do the talking. His calmness speaks louder than any compliment. His body language communicates assurance. His pauses make his words matter more. When you stay silent after a woman challenges you, you show strength. When you don't respond immediately to attention tests, you show emotional control. When you let her fill the silence, she starts chasing connection. And that's when power shifts. Silence isn't coldness, it's control. It says, I'm not here to impress, I'm here to observe. It's how you filter genuine interest from emotional games. The men who understand this never waste energy explaining, defending, or proving themselves. They know their worth and they let their presence speak for them. Next time you're talking to a woman, try this. Say less, listen more, pause before replying. Let her feel your stillness. You'll notice how quickly the energy changes. Suddenly, you become the mystery. You become the one she wants to figure out. Because the man who speaks too much gives away his value. But the man who controls his silence, he becomes unforgettable. 7. Be the prize, not the beggar. Let's get one thing straight. You can't attract a woman by worshiping her. You attract her by making her realize she's standing in the presence of a man who values himself. Too many men today walk around like beggars with Wi Fi, constantly online, waiting for attention, hoping someone will validate them. You compliment too much, text too fast, give too easily, and then wonder why women lose interest. It's because you've forgotten your position. You are the prize. When a man acts like the prize, everything changes. His energy shifts. He stops seeking and he starts selecting. He doesn't chase women. He attracts them through his standards, his focus, and his direction. He's not trying to be chosen, he's doing the choosing. The beggar mindset comes from fear, fear of being alone, fear of rejection, fear of missing out. But every time you act from fear, you lower your value. You show her that you need her approval to feel complete. And let me tell you something, no woman on this planet is attracted to a man who needs her more than he needs himself. The prize mindset, on the other hand, is built on self respect. You know your worth, so you don't trade it for cheap attention. You don't chase women who show disinterest. You walk away, not because you're angry, but because you're grounded. A man who sees himself as the prize isn't cocky, he's centered. He invests in himself. He builds his body, his finances, his purpose. He knows that any woman who enters his life is a compliment, not a lifeline. That's power. Here's the irony. When you finally stop chasing, women start noticing. They can sense when a man values himself, and it instantly separates you from the crowd. You become the challenge, the mystery, the reward. You have to remember, you set the tone for how you're treated. If you act like a beggar, you'll be treated like one. But if you carry yourself like the prize with quiet confidence and calm energy, you'll attract respect, not pity. So stop proving your worth. Stop begging for attention. Start living like the man she's lucky to meet, not the one desperate to keep her. Because the truth is simple. When you act like the prize, you never have to chase the crowd. 8. Unpredictability creates desire. Let's be honest, predictable men are boring. They text the same way, act the same way, and move the same way every single day. They think consistency means comfort, but in reality, it often means no excitement. And without excitement, attraction dies. Women don't crave routine emotions. They crave stimulation. They want to feel something when they're around you, not drama, not chaos, but unpredictability. That sense that they can't fully read you. That's what keeps them curious. Most men are too easy to figure out. The moment a woman shows interest, they start flooding her with attention. She knows exactly when he'll call, how he'll reply, and what he'll say. There's no suspense, no tension, no mystery left. She's emotionally full before anything even begins. Unpredictability isn't about playing games, it's about keeping your energy interesting. It's about showing that you have a life beyond her, that your world doesn't revolve around her schedule or attention. When you can walk away mid-conversation because you've got something important to do, that sends a message. Your time is valuable. It's also about emotional rhythm. Sometimes you're warm, sometimes you're distant, not because you're manipulative, but because you're balanced. You're not always available and you don't always reveal everything about yourself. That's the kind of mystery that fuels attraction. Think about the movies or stories women love. There's always a man who's hard to read, calm but unpredictable. He's not random. He's just not emotionally obvious. That's what keeps her hooked. But here's where men go wrong. They mistake unpredictability for inconsistency. Being unpredictable doesn't mean being unreliable. You still keep your word, but you don't make yourself too accessible. You still show interest, but you don't overshare. You give her moments of warmth and then moments of space. That balance creates emotional contrast, and emotional contrast creates desire. You've got to stop trying to be the perfect guy. Perfect is predictable, perfect is forgettable. Instead, be intriguing. Make her wonder what you're thinking. Let her feel that she's still figuring you out. Because once she knows every move you'll make, she's already lost interest. So remember this: women chase excitement, not effort. Be calm, be confident, be a little mysterious. Don't give her the full story. Make her crave the next chapter. 9. Respect yourself or lose her. Here's something every man needs to hear. If you don't respect yourself, she never will. You can't expect a woman to value your presence when you keep teaching her that your boundaries don't matter. Every time you tolerate disrespect, chase after being ignored, or let her walk over your standards, you lose a little bit of your power. And once a woman senses that, she's gone emotionally, even if she's still standing next to you. Respect is the foundation of attraction. Without it, nothing else works. You can be funny, charming, even good looking. But if you lack self respect, women feel it instantly. It's in your tone, your reactions, and your body language. They can tell when you're trying too hard to please instead of leading with strength. The problem is, too many men mistake being nice for being respected. You bend over backwards, agree to everything, and think she'll see you as loyal. But loyalty without standards is weakness. Being too available doesn't make you desirable when it makes you disposable. A woman doesn't fall for the man who gives her everything. She falls for the man who values himself enough to say no. The man who doesn't argue for attention. The man who walks away from confusion instead of begging for clarity. That kind of man commands respect because he respects himself first. Every time you let something slide just to keep the peace, you lose a little more of your masculine frame. And women notice that immediately. They start testing you harder, not because they're cruel, but because they want to see if there's any strength left inside you. If you fail that test, attraction dies, quietly but permanently. Respecting yourself means you set boundaries and enforce them calmly. You don't raise your voice, you raise your standards. You don't need to prove your worth, you embody it. You understand that walking away doesn't mean losing, it means protecting your peace. Men, this is your reminder. You teach people how to treat you. If you act like your time, your love, and your attention are cheap, that's exactly how they'll be treated. So stop settling for half interest, stop begging for consistency, and stop confusing patience with weakness. Because the moment you start respecting yourself, she'll either rise to meet you or disappear on her own. And either way, you win. 10. The masculine energy she craves. Let's be real. Modern men are losing their masculine edge. Too many guys are soft where they should be solid, passive where they should be present. You've been told to be nice, to never offend, to always please. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That's not what truly attracts women. Women don't crave a man who bends to their every mood. They crave a man who holds his frame. Firm, calm, unshaken. A man whose presence brings order, not chaos. That's masculine energy. Not aggression, not dominance, but grounded strength. It's that silent confidence that says, I've got this. Masculine energy is leadership without control. It's knowing who you are and moving with direction. When you have that, a woman feels safe, not because you overpower her, but because you're stable. You're her anchor in a world that constantly changes. Most men lose attraction because they abandon that role. You let emotions lead you, you react to everything she does, and you forget your purpose. You start orbiting around her instead of making her part of your orbit. That's when she pulls away. Not because she stopped liking you, but because you stopped being the man she could respect. Masculine energy doesn't mean being loud or aggressive. It's quiet, composed, and decisive. You don't need to control her, and you control yourself. You don't need to shout to be heard. Your calmness commands attention. You don't chase validation. You live by purpose. Women are drawn to that energy naturally. It's biological. When she senses a man who is sure of himself, who moves with intention, she relaxes into her feminine side. But when you act uncertain, indecisive, or needy, she has to step into the masculine. And attraction collapses instantly. Men, understand this: your strength doesn't come from dominance, it comes from direction. You can be kind, but still firm. You can be patient, but still assertive. You can love deeply, but never lose yourself in the process. That's the masculine energy she craves. Not a man who tries to please her, but a man who inspires her to rise with him. So stop dimming your power to make others comfortable. Step back into your frame. Lead your life with focus, confidence, and calm. Because when you move like a man on a mission, every woman will feel it. And the right one will never want to leave it. Conclusion. Let me leave you with something most people won't say out loud. Men are not struggling to attract women because women have changed. Men are struggling because they've forgotten how to be men. Yeah, I said it. Somewhere along the line, we traded strength for comfort, purpose for approval, and confidence for validation. And now we wonder why attraction feels like a mystery. Women haven't stopped wanting masculine men. They've stopped finding them because too many of you are out here begging for attention instead of building yourselves into the kind of man who naturally commands it. You don't need tricks, tactics, or fake confidence. You just need to remember who you are. A man with direction, control, and value. And if you've been through situations where you gave everything and still got ignored, I want you to comment below. Share your experience. Tell me what you went through, how it affected you, and what you've learned. I'll read through the comments personally and reach out to some of you because I don't just want views, I want connection. I want to help you rebuild that inner power that can't be shaken by rejection or indifference. Here's the truth. Once a man rediscovers his masculine energy, women start chasing him. Not because he's playing games, but because he finally stopped playing himself. So, are you ready to stop begging for love and start becoming the kind of man who attracts it effortlessly? Because in the next video, we're going to talk about something even deeper. Why most men accidentally turn off the very women they want the most. Trust me, you don't want to miss that one.